travel team tennis.
All right, well, we got a decent turnout, not bad. I founded travel team tennis because I really wanted there to be more to just, there's more to tennis than just one person versus one person on the court, battling it out, coming off the court, and then talking to your coach and parents. It's a very lonely feeling. I just know from playing, I enjoyed the college experience so much better. I still talk to the guys on my team, and I see that St. Andrews, you guys do it right. I mean, you seem to care about each other. The way you run practices, it seems to be a very good team atmosphere where I think a lot of kids do not have that exposure to a real team environment for tennis. And when they're young, a lot of the kids move away from tennis that shouldn't because they want that team, they want the team atmosphere, they want the baseball, they want the basketball, they want the camaraderie. And I feel like if we could somehow create an atmosphere that college can create at the junior level, we'll be able to keep a lot of you guys really excited about playing tennis and actually wanting to compete more as an individual because you have more confidence and you gain that through being part of the team. Part of our deal is a little different though. The kids have to come down, they got to make their beds, they got to do the dishes. We'll cook for them, but they have to do the dishes when we're done. You know, it really is. I mean, to watch these kids vacuum, we have a YouTube channel that we just created, so we're starting to put some of the stuff on there and watch these kids vacuum and mop, and it's just hilarious. It's great though. I think the parents are really going to enjoy that part of it. But it's the same thing. It's like going to voluntary saddlebrook. You're going to play 5 hours of tennis. You're going to get a team match every afternoon, but you have to do all that other stuff in your downtime. So anyway, so today I was actually going to talk about, John was going to talk about some mental toughness and preparation. I was going to start with drug and alcohol. And we're going to go to bullying a little bit, and I'll probably get to social media. John. So the first thing is, I have some questionnaires I want you to fill out. Please fill them out honestly. I just computed some numbers. Would you like to know the results?
Yes.
Real quick. We've got 16 kids that filled it out. 6 of you drink on what I would consider fairly regular basis. You drink more than once a month. And for being at your age, anybody here a senior? Anybody here 17? 16? 17, 16? That's kind of a lot for your age. I would expect those results for seniors. You know, I think seniors, you know, they get that little bug. They think they're going to college, so they think they have the right to do more things. Only 3 of you have smoked pot, and that's all you've done. Which I thought that number would be a little higher, so I'm actually pretty happy it's 3, but still I don't get it at your ages. The interesting question I asked was about bullying, which was funny. I said, you know, have you ever put anybody down to feel better about yourself? And we had 4 people say no to that. And I'm guessing it was basically all the girls. My experience, every time I ask that question, girls tend to be nice because they want to be nice. You know, like they just want everyone to like them, they want to be nice. And guys, for whatever reason, don't always care about that. I think there's a lot more bullying when it comes to guy than there is girl to girl. Not of course, I mean, there's exceptions for every rule, but everybody else answered yes. That means 12 people said that they put somebody else down to make themselves feel better in front of their friends. Does that sound like right to anybody? I mean, how horrible is that when you think about that? If I just single out a kid or single out one of my friends, or you know, and a lot of times it's your friend. Like I know in our group, I watched it all week. You know, I watched them kind of pick on each other, but there were 2 kids that they kind of picked on a lot, you know, and they kind of went after them. And I think there's a fine line between joking and bullying. You know, it's almost mental torture. I mean, if you see, we have guys, they can say whatever they want. You can call him, you know, any name you want. He just laughs it off for the most part. But some of the names you called him, if you were a female, it could cause eating disorders, depression. It could cause serious issues. I mean, girls, I think the mental anguish is worse than guys. I think guys, it's, you know, they get embarrassed and they, you know, girls will think about it for weeks, what you say. If you call a girl fat, she could possibly think about that for years. It's unbelievable. Where a guy, he'll just get really upset about it for a second and kind of move on. But if it keeps happening, then he starts wearing him down as well. There's no excuse to put anybody down to make yourself feel better. If you're nice, people will treat you nice. I think there was a slogan here that says treat what, treat your neighbors like yourself, or what, Scott, what is that slogan you guys have?
Love your neighbor like yourself.
Love your neighbor like yourself. I mean, that's perfect. That's obviously, that hasn't been happening in our condo the whole week. I think at the end of the week, they treat each other a lot better, but you should respect everybody you're around, and if you're upset at something they did, there's a much better way to handle it than call them a name. Calling them a name is a very uneducated thing to do. Oh, you're fat, you're ugly, you're stupid, you're this, I mean, can't you think of something a little better? Can't you help them? Maybe say, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I was so upset that they didn't clean their rooms, they didn't do the dishes, they didn't do the pots, you know, because they have to do that while they're here with us. And I tried every tactic in the book. I tried to be nice, I tried to be consoling, I tried to yell, I did everything. And the fact of the matter is, what worked best was when I got them all in a group, and I basically talked to them very calmly. I showed them how upset I was, but not with anger, not with calling anybody names. It was just, hey, this is really bothering me. The idea of this is for you to, you know, we had two kids that didn't get along. To me, there's no excuse for two 14-year-old kids not get along. I mean, maybe you don't see eye to eye in everything, but how can two 14, 15-year-old kids hate each other when they don't know anything about life? How can that be? So the fact that 12 of you put other people down to make yourselves feel better, that should be the most embarrassing thing that was written there. Although, I thought it would have been more like 14 out of 16, because I feel like everybody has kind of done that at some point in their life. I know I'm guilty of it, you know, when I was younger. Sometimes as a coach, I get guilty. I have to like stop myself. I'm almost about to say something because I just get so frustrated, but I do. You know, it's like you have to think. Anything that comes out of your mouth that you say to somebody else, imagine if it was said to you before you say it. If the answer is no, God, I don't want to, don't say it. It's as simple as that. Don't say it. So anyway, that one upset me a little bit. Now, I'm just going to talk about the drug and alcohol thing. To have 6 kids in here that drink on a fairly regular basis, to me once a month, like I said, at your age, that's fairly regular. I mean, that's a decent amount. Because usually that number goes up, not down. The way I look at when I teach my kids about drugs and alcohol, I'm not going to affect everybody. It's a nice little bell-shaped curve. There are going to be people that do it, there are going to be people that do it, and there are going to be kids that don't do it. But then 80% of you are going to be in that in-between area where you've tried it, you're thinking about trying it, and those are the kids we want to affect. The fact is, if you have an older brother that's drinking and smoking and doing that stuff, all we can do is educate you. That's all we can do. You're going to make the choice, and you know, a lot of times your brother's going to win over us. But if you're in the middle and you're not quite sure, you know, you don't have that bad influence on you, I think we can get you. And here's an example. To me, if you're drinking at your age, it just shows mental weakness. Because I think all of you, if I ask the question, is drinking at the age of 15 right or wrong? I don't think would anybody put right, yeah, that's okay. I don't want to speak for everybody, but I'm guessing nobody would think that that's okay, right? Okay. If I had, to get 6 of you said you drink on a regular basis, if I had a table up here and I had five beers just hanging up here and I popped them, I said, go ahead, go have it. How many of you would actually come up here and have a drink? Anybody? Feel free. I mean, you know, you think anybody would? How about you? Would you? Absolutely not, right? Now, what if I pop those same beers? They're still open, and for whatever reason, he gets up, she gets up, they come over here, and they all start drinking. Now what do you think? You think you drink now? Yeah, probably. And I think a lot of kids, put your phone down. Are you kidding me right now? I think a lot of kids, when they see drinking happening, is when the peer pressure really starts coming in. You go to a party, guys, I get it. I've been there. I've driven some of my kids home when they call me up, they don't want to get in the car with somebody that's been drinking. You go to these parties and all you see is you see a keg, you see beer, you see people firing away. It is very tough to say no if you don't understand all the consequences. If you don't understand everything that can happen if you choose to do that. The first time you make a bad decision, you'll make it again, and you'll make another one, and you'll make another one, and they may have nothing to do with the drinking. If you had, and I'll give you an example, if you're at a party with somebody who drives, so you're partying with your 17-year-old buddy, he's the coolest guy in school, he's driving, he takes you to the party, and he's drinking. Now, you being sober, you know you're not getting in the car with him, correct? right? Who would get in the car with somebody sober that's been drinking, right? What if you had 2, 3, 4 drinks yourself? All of a sudden, you're not sober. All of a sudden, you're not thinking clearly. That guy now says to you, I've only had one, I'm fine. That's how it always starts, and sadly enough, that's how it always ends. I've only had one, I'm fine, and they walk. They walk to the car, you just walk. You're not thinking straight, you got a few drinks, you're not thinking straight. You get in the car. That may be the last time you get in the car. And that's the sad thing. You guys, when you make one bad decision with alcohol, it leads to other bad decisions. That, I don't even want to go into all the funny stuff you guys like to talk about, who hooked up with who and all that stupid stuff. But you guys know the bad decisions that we made once you have 2 or 3, even one. Once you make the decision of one, you're gonna have another. It's the same thing. So, I had one kid tell me actually the other day that he drinks when he's away, but he doesn't drink when he's home. And I said, why? He said, well, my friends don't drink at home. I said, okay, well, so you just follow. You just follow what everybody else does. And he's like, yeah, that's pretty basic. So if you show up to a party and you saw like 5 guys sitting around a bonfire, the fire is raging, and they're all sticking their hand there going, oh my God, this is so hot, it's awesome, let's do this. I'm burning my hand, it's gonna be amazing. Oh, come burn your hand with me. Georges, come over here, let's burn your hand. Is that, I mean, obviously you wouldn't do it, it's not cool, but you all know that drinking isn't right, you all know that smoking weed isn't right, but yet some of you make that choice because of that peer pressure. You feel like when you show up somewhere and you see people doing things, like you just want to join in, but the fact is, what's cool is being different. What's cool is saying, no, I'm cool, I'm good, that's what's cool. I actually had another one of my kids tell me, Todd, not everybody drinks, they're not as cool as us. I was quote unquote, they're not as cool as us. See, if you're laughing because it just sounds ridiculous, that's fine. But the sad thing is, it's kind of true. That's what because he believes it. I mean, I don't believe, it doesn't make you cool. He's an idiot, but he believes it. And when you believe something as ridiculous as that, there's really not much help. I mean, I sat there and I said to the kid, I said, you gotta be kidding me, did I just hear that right? And everybody laughed, and everybody was kind of getting on for that. But he believed it. He went on and on, no, the cool people do this, the cool people do that. And then he says, the guys that hook up with the girls are the ones that are drinking. I get that happens some places, but I mean, if you listen to what he's saying, there's a lot of insecurities in how he says it. It's a lot of, most of the kids that are drinking are not mentally tough enough for Sean to get into to just say, no, I'm cool, I'm walking away. You guys are too young to do any of that stuff. That's just a fact. You know it, you all know it. You know the decisions that you know it's gonna loosen up your inhibitions, you're gonna make bad decisions. So if you know that, don't make the first decision. It's always easier right when you say yes to that first beer, the first shot, whatever it is so much easier to take the second or third. I think we all know that. You have one, right when you struggle with that decision, maybe the first beer. Does anybody here remember the first beer they ever had? Does anybody not want to talk? I promise you it will not be on camera. No one's going to say a word. You remember the first beer you ever had? Okay. One more. Where were you? All right, you were in Germany. Okay. Did you feel any, like, before you had it, did you feel any, like, oh my God, I don't know what I should do? And then once you had it, you were just, like, firing away? Or how did it happen?
I don't know. I mean, I was there with some of my friends.
Speak up a little bit.
I was there with some of my friends, and they were doing it, so I didn't want to, because I no time.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to get stick in the mud, so I did one of those. I don't want to get so I was going down the other.
But now, when you grabbed the second beer, was it a lot easier than grabbing the first beer? A lot easier. Well, thank you for just talking. And there's 5 others of you who decided not to speak up. That's okay. So I'm guessing you're the foreign kid that only drinks with travel. What did you think after I told you about when they gave you that example about the shots, but you always be a follower? What did you think about that? Does that make sense to you?
I don't know. I mean, who's going to go?
Somebody. If we're at a party and we pop a keg, we put a keg right here. Somebody started it. Somebody's walking over that keg and drinking. It's not just sitting there alone all night. So somebody's doing it. That guy's obviously a bad leader, but somebody's going over there, popping that keg and starting to fill the beers and handing them out to people, right? And you're the guy who comes up when he sees other people going in there and grabbing it, right? If you wouldn't do something alone, why would you do it when there's other people around? Like, I don't get it. Like, do other people make you drink? Does that make, and I'm not just talking to him individually, I'm talking to everyone. When that guy pops that keg, and you start seeing people firing over there, you see people huddling around there, just don't go over there. I mean, that's the decision. Stay on the other side of the party, leave the party, make better decisions. Don't walk over to the keg and go, what's that, what's that? And all of a sudden you see, oh yeah, eventually a beer's gonna be a keg. You cannot put yourself in bad positions because then bad things are gonna happen. I implore you all to be more like a leader and not a follower. There's enough followers, there's 20 times enough followers in the world. You don't need any more followers. You need people to lead, people to make correct decisions, you know? It's okay to have your friends over and not provide alcohol for them. Like, that's okay. I get that they pressure you to sometimes, but then don't have them over. They're not friends. If you were at a party and you said no, I don't want to drink, and they made fun of you and they called you names like we were talking about before, they're not your friends. Your friends would be cool with you either way. Your friends would be cool with you whether you said yes, whether you said no. Life is too short to be making bad decisions at a young age. You make bad decisions at 15, you're going to make them at 18, you're going to make them at 21. Next thing you know, you're going to be 25, you're still going to be living at home. Making minimum wage. But you just need to continually make bad decisions instead of furthering your life, your career, I mean, there's so many things to look forward to, but when you make bad decisions. I mean, I actually had one kid tell me once, he said, what are your grades like in school? Because I'm big on that. I think you gotta, if you're a C student, come on, there's no excuse. All of you kids are bright enough. I watch you on the tennis court, I watch how you interact, you're all bright enough, nobody's gonna be C's. And he says, well, Todd, I'm just gonna turn up next year, I'm going into 9th grade. That's the important year for me. I said, what are you taking now? He said, geometry. I said, okay, and last year you took algebra. I said, so you're gonna turn up next year when you take pre-calc. But you got C's and D's in algebra and geometry, and yet you just think you can turn it up in trigonometry or pre-calc. It's impossible. You need those bases. You need the algebra and the geometry to succeed at the higher levels of math. You can't do poorly at these levels of math and then all of a sudden say, oh, I'm going to study the lecture and stuff up, because you're going to have to learn all those basics that you missed. And it goes like that in almost every sport, all life. Like, you're 11 years old, your kid won the Little Mo. What if he just said, no, I don't care about this. I'm going to wait until I'm 15 to dominate the country. I don't want to win a national at 12 and under, 11 and under. Who cares about that? I'll wait. And he's setting himself up for the future. If you don't win then, you have to learn how to win. He's lucky enough he's learning how to win now. So when he's 15, 16, he's already going to know how to win. You're already going to know algebra, geometry. You'll already be able to succeed at higher levels of math. You'll be able to succeed at the higher levels of tennis. Now, there are kids in tennis that will work their butts off to catch up, which would be like the example of the kid that wants to turn up. He'll study algebra, geometry just to get better at pre-calc. You'll have the 15-year-old kid that wasn't that great at 11 in tennis. I'm sure you guys all know the stories, and you see this kid come out of nowhere and play well because he works his butt off. It's the same thing. Make your decisions early, make good decisions early, and just do them throughout your life. It's so easy to just go down the wrong path. I've seen it a million times. I've sent kids to Yale, Harvard, USC, I've sent some of the best tennis schools in the country and some of the best academic schools in the country. Some of my kids that went to Yale, Harvard, Princeton, Brown got in a lot of trouble because they were making wrong decisions right away. They were just very bright and they were good at tennis, so the coaches wanted to give them a chance. Not only did they mess up on the tennis court, but they messed up in the classroom. And I don't want to see you guys make the same mistake. That was part of my reason for the seminar, was I had a couple kids make some very poor choices, but they were making them before they got to college. So I kind of knew it was happening. I knew it was going to come. Nobody wanted to listen to me, and then it happened. And then I get the phone call very late at night. Todd, what do we do? And it's like, are you kidding me? So you guys, I implore you, make the right decisions now, and you'll make them later. All right, guys, we're going to bring John up from Mel Talk.
Hi, guys. Hope you guys learned something from that speech. I just wanted to touch upon what Todd said. First of all, you guys got to hold on to this environment. When my good friend, Mrs. Wadsworth, Walker's mom asked me about St. Andrews, I said, you guys, and Scott Williams, I said, sprint there. Sprint, because you guys are learning such incredible values and such incredible discipline that I hope you guys hold on to this, because if you do, then you'll be following what Todd is saying when you go to college, when you don't have Scott and Diego there. Because you guys aren't going to have Scott and Diego there all the time. Or your parents, you're going to have to rely on yourself. You're going to have to remember what Scott and Diego said, and remember the seminar, what Todd talked about. So, and that's what this seminar is. That's what my topic is on today, how to hold on to it when you're on your own. Okay? Did you guys see the Miami Heat Thunder basketball? What you guys think of the Heat? Go Heat! Right? What do you think about LeBron James? Pretty good. What do you think the difference between LeBron James this year and last year, when a guy by the name of Dirk Nowitzki schooled LeBron James? He was the MVP last year. LeBron was known as the choker. What do you guys think was the difference this year?
He was fired up.
He was fired up.
Mental toughness.
Mental toughness. Okay. What do you think mental toughness is? Anyone? Desire to win? Anyone else? What is it? How would you define it? Anyone have a shot? Okay. Okay, those are all good answers. According to Dr. Jim Blair, who's a good friend of mine, he's the father of sports psychology. Scott, you know Dr. Jim Blair, right? Yeah. And basically he defines toughness as the ability to outperform yourself, not your competition. In layman's terms, it's about being more physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually prepared than the other. Now, can someone interpret that for me, what that means to outperform yourself, not your competition? What do you think? What do you think that means?
Challenge yourself in every way.
Yeah.
To not give up, even when it's hard.
Exactly. Good answer. Very good. Okay. So the next question is, how do you become tougher and subsequently more physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually prepared? Guys, what do you think? What's that? Discipline. That's the exact answer I was looking for. And again, this subject, guys, is not going to be the most fun subject. But everything we talk about today is very, very important. So just because we're talking about discipline doesn't mean to go to sleep. Okay? So the next question is mental toughness. We just said it's about discipline. Okay? So then how do we get the discipline? Because you see, we're digging deep to figure out how to get this concept of mental toughness. People talk about in tennis, they say the mental side of the game is 70% of the game. And now we just talked about it being about discipline. So how do we acquire the discipline? Any clues, guys?
Well, I think the first step is to have a goal. And for you to reach quite big goal, you have to be disciplined and in your manner and everything you do in order to reach.
Now I know why she was a state high school champion. Very, very good answer. That's definitely part of it. The two main things that I break it down into is, number one, you have to genuinely enjoy what you do. You know, if I was to be, let's say, what do I not like to do? What do I not like to do, Todd? Lose. Well, you know, I don't like to lose, but there's some subjects in school. There's some subjects in school that I just like. I'd sprint away from. Okay. Of course, we have to take all subjects and do the best we can, but the point is, it would be hard for me to be mentally tough if I didn't enjoy the subject. So that's number one. To be mentally tough in something that you're doing, you have to enjoy it. And you also have to just do what you have to do when you don't enjoy it, like a subject that you have to take. But since you guys all play tennis, I'm sure you all must enjoy tennis, right? To some extent. And the other thing about enjoyment is just because you enjoy it doesn't mean you're going to enjoy every aspect. that's the key. You have to find a way just to do it. And that's the second part. So you got to enjoy it. And number two, you have to push yourself past your comfort zone with and without the constant push of others. Again, you have to push yourself past your comfort zone. So you have to enjoy it and you have to push yourself past your comfort zone because you're not going to love everything about what it is that you're doing. Okay? And that's why we need to acquire the discipline and the skills to be prepared. Now, Walker, do you mind if I use you as an example? Okay. Walker Wadsworth, who I have had the pleasure of working with along Scott, he's got a great, great team behind him of people who care and push him, including his mother, the visionary, Scott, myself. He's got a great team behind him. And what I write about is that providing Walker truly has the desire and the determination, he will acquire the discipline necessary for becoming as tough as he can be. And when he does this, which he's on the cusp of doing, he will be on the process of maximizing his tennis, which realistically few people do. And realistically there's very few people that are really, really maximizing themselves because they're really, really digging deep and trying to become physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually better. That's what it takes. You've got to dig deep because Scott, Todd, Debbie, Walker's mom, we can't all give you this. It's got to come from you. You got to push past your comfort zones. When you go to college or when you go to Tennis Europe, like Walker and Bo are going. So here's my Nike advice, would be just to become a just do it person. Starting with writing down your playing equipment, which you can do right now. I want to pass everyone an example of playing equipment, something that everyone should do before they practice. They should, like on the tennis channel, they talk about the bag check. Well, here's your bag check. Okay? Everyone can pass this along. Thanks. There's a couple of things you can fill out, which you don't have to do it. I mean, you can fill out some of this stuff now, but the key again, guys, the key again, you guys have so many great structures. Every day you have the likes of Scott Williams and Diego with you. You guys are so lucky, but no matter what the structures you have, guys, you've got to absorb the structures. We could be giving you the world. You could have the best coaches, you could have everything, but it still takes you to absorb what everyone is saying. So for instance, this playing equipment checklist, I created this because I was playing tournaments in Europe. I think I told you, Debbie. I was playing tournaments and I actually lost a match. I was in Hungary and I lost a match because my strings were not, the strings weren't fully, strung right. They were too loose. And I was playing a guy, a great player, and I did not need that additional obstacle when I was playing this guy. So again, mental toughness. It's all about maximizing the things that you have within your control, like this equipment checklist. Okay. I'm going to try to use Walker again because, just you can fill it out. You don't have to do it now. But again, guys, absorb the structures. Don't just take the sheet, throw it away. And you don't have to follow it exactly too. You got to follow it how you want it, but just start doing it. Become a just do it person. That's why Nike's got a pretty, like that expression, they own it. Just do it. Okay? So, Walker, do you mind if I utilize your tennis diet a little bit? Everyone should have their own tennis diet, in a sense. If you want to become a better tennis player, if you want to become more mentally tough on the tennis court. And again, becoming more mentally tough will lead to maximizing your potential, right? Okay. So the main concepts that I have here for maximizing your potential and mental toughness has to do with the lifestyle you lead. Okay? Are you doing some of the things that Todd was talking about? Are you controlling your lifestyle habits? Are you following everyone else and drinking and staying up late and doing the things you shouldn't do? Or are you creating your own value system? Are you actually absorbing all the great things that Scott and Diego were telling you, and we're here telling you today? Are you absorbing it? So the lifestyle you lead, how you sleep, your nutritional habits, hydrating at night before a match, and in fact every day, hydrating, preparing your equipment, doing your homework, but also having fun. It's important to balance yourself and have fun, but you got to do it all. That's all part of the lifestyle. Also, you have to have your own pre-practice routine. You got to do your routine. Everyone's routine might be a little bit different, but you got to do a routine that gets you into the mode of playing mentally. Do your meditation, your visualization. Do your stretches. Do the warm-up. Like for instance, before I warm up, and I've told this to Walker, what I'll do is I'll visualize for a few minutes. I'll visualize how I want to play. What are the things I'm working on? I'm closing my eyes because I'm sort of visualizing. Now I just woke up. But you got to stretch your upper body. You got to move. You got to run around. You can do shadow hits to warm up. Why do I do shadow hits? Because I want to get an idea of what I'm trying to feel on my shots before I even play. That's all part of the mental toughness. That's all part, because it's all about the preparation, the skill preparation, the mental preparation. The other thing, the last part of the threefold concept of the tennis style, we had the lifestyle, we had the pre-practice routine, and we had the practice goals. Everyone should really know what they're working on. Tennis is a very individualized sport. You know, we talk about combining players. If you combine this player and this player and this player, you'd have the greatest player. But unfortunately, it doesn't work so easy. So, therefore, we got to work on our individual goals. Okay? We got to do what we do well. We got to add to it, and then we got to add the other things that we're not doing well, physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. Okay? Does anyone have any questions about mental toughness? Do you guys think that if you become more mentally tough that you'll be able to follow the advice of what Todd was talking about and play better tennis? Okay, Scott?
Coach John, I probably hear from the players, so one of the things that they want more than anything is self-confidence.
Self-confidence.
On the court and off the court. With some of the things you've shared today, don't you feel that that will help increase your self-confidence?
Absolutely. I mean, absolutely. It's kind of interesting. You know, that's why we purposely did the seminar the way we did, where Todd talked about becoming your own person. That's the biggest thing. Becoming your own person, not following that group mentality so much. Of course, you got to follow, you got to be part of a team. That's called a cooperative team. That's called a really functional, practical team. But you got to stay away from the bad elements, the bad energy. So you become your own person, and then you have the follow-through habits, right, to become that confident person. But confidence is not something you just, turn on. You got to work it. You got to practice these habits. You got to prepare yourself mentally, physically, emotionally. You got to work on your skills. You're not just going to beat someone that does a 4-minute dash if you've been practicing like a 5-minute miler, no matter how confident you are, no matter how well you can talk, no matter how well you can, does that make sense, guys? You got to do that inner work, which a lot of people aren't willing to do, and you guys have some great people around to help you with that. The key is not just to kind of fall into the habits, the weak habits. The key is ask questions when you don't realize what you need to do, and that's how you get the confidence. Does that make sense? I hope that answered the question. Great. Any other questions? Well, Todd and I really, really appreciate you guys giving us the time. We just talked a different language than Scott because he's been saying the same things, and that's why it's good to hear it from a different voice. Sometimes, because we're all in the same energy. So, thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.